Let's take a look at Cobra Commander version 1 straight arm. Recently picked up a big lot of G.I. Joe figures and was happy to see this one in there. It's one of the reasons I bought the entire lot. He's almost perfect. We do have a lot of face paint rub there, but check out that logo on him. Now, you could also find a version 1, which is considered the Holy Grail, the Mickey Mouse Cobra Commander with a different Cobra logo. Also want to go ahead and do an O-ring change on him. I want to take a look at the waist. See, that one thing you want to look out for is it says 1982. That way you know you don't have the version 1.5 waist. If you had the version 1.5 waist, it would say 82-83. So we're going to be very careful about changing his O-ring. As we all know, the plastic was extremely delicate in 1982-83. Sometimes you have to articulate the arms a little bit, or the head, just to loosen up the body. Or other times, it'll come right off really easily. This one is still intact, even with the screw out. You also want to be very careful with the crotch anytime you're articulating. You can see the old O-ring in there. Let's go ahead. I'm going to gently, very gently, place the screwdriver inside. Separate that plastic. Still very tight. Let's go ahead and take it apart and we'll change the O-ring. Here we go. I also usually like to clean the insides because you'll have a lot of dust accumulation. Sometimes you might find a little critter in there too. You might find a little spider web in there. Just be aware of that. Great Cobra logo on this one. So here's the part that I can't stress enough how careful you have to be. Luckily the legs are pulling away without me even doing anything. But look how dirty that is. We're going to have to clean that up. Just a little soap and water will do the trick. And make sure there's no stress marks on the crotch. These crotches break so easily. Again, we're going to be really gentle with that. And let's go ahead and clean them up. Let's remove the old O-ring from the T-hook. There we go. All right, now we're cleaned up a little bit here. It's rare that you need a new T-hook there, but sometimes that might be worth replacing as well, or even these screws. I like to keep the original screws in though. You could take some rubbing alcohol, just a little bit on the tip there, and maybe use a Q-tip, just dab it in there a little bit just to get some of that rust off. You want to be careful not to get on the plastic, so maybe even take out the screws and do it that way. We don't want to compromise the plastic in any way, especially a figure like this. But he's looking pretty good right now. I mean, just a basic rinse with soap and water would really do the trick, which I'm going to do right now to this part too. Sitting there with a quick rinse, it'll get rid of 40 years of that 80s dust. Like, I think this is the most iconic action figure of the 80s, Cobra Commander. Destro's up there too. I don't think there's anything more iconic than Cobra Commander. And I like this version, the straight on version, because it's the first one. He's hard to find. If you see a big lot of figures, let's say on eBay or Facebook, and you can spot the skinnier arms, but you can't really see the rest, that's going to be a nice giveaway. And you might be able to get a good deal on a lot. All right, I'm going to put them back together. So O-rings, you know, a lot of people talk about, if you look at different collector forums, you know, it's really personal preference. Also, you want to make sure it's not going to compromise the figure in any way. These O-rings have been good for me. I don't even know if they have a number. A lot of people say, oh, get number 41, get number 8s. I just buy these in bulk, and they've always worked for me on the new and old figures. A little stretch doesn't hurt, so it's not super tight, because we don't want it to pull too hard when we put the crotch and the chest together. So we want to fish the O-ring through like that, gently. Everything has to be very gentle. Make sure it snaps into place like it just did. You pull this too tight, that could break the crotch. So this is one of the most important parts. This is where crotches do get broken a lot. So I'm going to try to gently get that rubber band in there. That's why some people do like to use the thinner rubber bands that have less pull in them, because you don't want to break the crotch. I've never had that problem with these O-rings. So here's the move. You get your thumb holding the socket, the shoulder joints, the neck, and then we do like pull the tablecloth off without moving anything. Hopefully we do that, and then gently, especially on the 82s, you don't want to press hard on the plastic. If you're a little bit off-centered, you could break the shoulder joints, that's the case, especially with Stalker. So now he's together again. Let's put the screw back in his back here. We'll drop it in, a little tap, get it back on the threads, and then do not over screw this. because you could break the inside. So I'm doing it gently. I almost want to let the figure kind of tell me when it's too tight. Instead of me turning, I'm going to turn the figure a little bit too. And then I let go. I mean, it's good. As long as the head is on there tight. You probably could tighten it like one more notch there. One more notch. He looks great now. He's not flopping around anymore. And he's going to be available in an upcoming Springer Collectibles auction on Whatnot, a live stream auction on Whatnot. So make sure that you find the link in the description, and I hope to see you in a future auction, and hope that you find yourself a version 1 Cobra Commander out there in the wild. Thanks for watching, guys. I'm John, Springer Collectibles. See ya.